Um, I was listening to the soundtrack the other night while I was laying down, because I do that sometimes. And I was like, oh, this stuff is really good. And then it got me thinking about all the other good stuff that this game does. And I have looked through all the, like, a lot of lore stuff in the past, but it's been a while. So I just kind of wanted to do a playthrough where I really just take my time with it. So we're going to do like a new playthrough where I'm going to read all the items and kind of make some comments as I'm running through it. Also, just kind of stop, look around the environment a little bit, and soak in all the dialogue, and also pay attention to the music and other little elements that I think make this game what it is. So let's just get into it. I'll mute myself when like I'm playing cutscenes.
Oh, yes. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. But first, you'll need a contract.
That doesn't really tell us much. I mean, I guess it's a pretty interesting start because it kind of already is raising a number of questions as to who you are, what you're looking for, all that good stuff. I'm gonna name this character the same name that I was going for with the character that I deleted to make space for this character from the last couple streams, Johan. Actually, no, I take that back. Yeah, sure, fuck it. Sorry. I like this character. So there's a story to this one. It's kind of weird though. Essentially, just one of my friends ran through the creator and used this character. I won't use it, although I like it. This one kind of looks like this one. It's a bit different. This is like the edgelord kind of character you'd expect. This is always my mage character. It looks like my original Dark Souls 2 character, but let's just go with this one. Alright. Origins. Yeah, you know, let's actually go through these. They don't say too much. They're not like the Dark Souls ones. Dark Souls ones are actually really good for getting a little bit of lore about like other lands, but Milka Toast. Ordinary, happy upbringing. All attributes average. Lone survivor of Lost Hamlet. High life essence and vigor. Suffered misfortune in youth. Terribly violent past. Sorry. Born specialist fit for sleuthing or academia. Experienced in war, a soldier with strength and skill. Scion to a respectable line with faith in your pedigree. Face terrible hardships, but now confident in your purpose. And waste of skin. This makes no sense. Sorry, someone's commenting on the stream, but like, it's saying no one's watching it. So I'm a little confused as to how that's happening. But let me look at it. Oh gosh. You can hear me listening to it. Okay. Sorry about that. Ah. Hello, Gravelord Nito. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. As far as to which one I'll go with, I figure I'll just use like a pretty basic build for this one. Might like mess around, so it might just be more an average, like quality build. So we can use everything. So I guess milk and toast makes sense for that. So yeah. Alright, let's watch that cutscene.
Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
Ah, you found yourself a hunter.
So, sorry about that. A couple things about that cutscene before we look around this area. Uh, I really like that cutscene because I was taking notes, just jotting down little things that interested me about it. Um, so the guy who gives you the transfusion, so they're in a wheelchair. Not that that necessarily matters, but what does matter, I think, is all the smoke and the little like candles that they have on them. That's explained later as being incense to ward off beasts. So it's kind of cool that that's already kind of in play from that opening cutscene. There, the person who gives you the transfusions' eyes are covered, and I think we're gonna get some notes later that talk about people who I guess have the blood running through them. It kind of has led to blindness, and we're gonna find that a lot in some of the enemy designs as well. So that's kind of already introduced. So that person also seems to have blood in them. As far as to what they said, the thing that always stuck out to me is you may consider it all a mere dream. Um, I don't know, it might just be my reading of it, but well, there's a lot of things that really feed into that idea later on, but I also think it has some mechanical kind of benefits, or it can rationalize a lot of the mechanics, not all, but a good amount of mechanics that are present in the game. To think of it all as a mere dream, it kind of gives some excuse for some of the things that happen, and I'll talk about those as they come up. So to come into it, it's kind of weird because it sounds like, we were teleported to something else, and the beast being summoned as being a part of that, kind of moving us, and the little ones moving us to a kind of different world. So the fact that a blood transfusion is needed to do that, and like what kind of blood we're getting, which there'll be more details about that soon, is interesting. And whether the wolf is a hallucination, or if it's a wolf we're gonna see like not long from now. But yeah, also it seems to already be in Yosefka's clinic, which is just that like Yosefka's clinic, or this place, kind of already exists in the world that we were in, if we are in fact teleported. What I've always liked too is the voice, who we later find out is the doll, says the line, "You found yourself a hunter." I always like that line because I think like there's so many ways to read like who that's addressed to. I think you can read it as being addressed to the guy who is giving you the transfusion. It could be addressed to you. I always like the idea, I kind of think of it that way, as being addressed to you, as in, like, in the same way you say you found yourself in a bad situation, like you found yourself becoming a hunter because it's what you must do once you come into this world. So you can read it on that level too. So it's an address to you playing, or it's an address to a figure who, and this is like another reading, it's addressed to like another figure who maybe we don't see for quite some time. But yeah, those are just a couple of the things that interest me about that opening cutscene. So let's just move on. So here we are in Yosefka's clinic, as the little pop-up blurred a while back said. And there's a couple things already here that we can kind of look at. We can just look at these tutorial prompts. This is someone else's. So these are other notes left by other hunters. So yeah. So one thing I always like about the From Software games is just a lot of the little clutter items, like books, the desk, the actual like IV drip. But most importantly is these, like, they kind of get a little jumbled up. That's always nice. But yeah, so it's clear there's like a lot of apothecary stuff, so it's a clinic, right? But there's this note here on a chair with straps. Handwritten scrawl: seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. I always kind of feel this is a bit lazy. Dark Souls and the other games, the way they give you the quest line is usually a character comes in and tells you. So I don't know, maybe it's not lazy, maybe it's kind of fitting here, but you just have this note that's kind of very directly telling you, this is, for right now, at this first stage of the game, your goal. Seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. What's the hunt? How does it transcend? And what's pale blood? Still questions for us to consider. Sorry, I just remembered something. There's this door. Does not open from this side, which is From Software game design for you will be here later. These early notes are pretty good spoilers, so I won't be talking about them. Sorry. I feel like this floor, it's like the way it's torn apart, it's like something was like, I don't know, I kind of look at it as like targeted spot being ripped open. Yeah. Almost like a beast did it. And these are tutorial prompts, so. Alright, let's go. We should probably kill this. Ooh. So we just performed a visceral attack, which are the backstabs of this game, which have an interesting animation that I will probably talk about later. But for now, we've killed this gigantic creature, which are just beasts. We got our first set of blood vials. Before I look at some of those items that we already have in our inventory, let's just look at some of the things here. So we have these people who were beast food. Can't really get a good look at them. I do like how this one's moving as he's being eaten. I don't know, just a nice little detail. There are all these empty beds that were also, they all have drips, which suggests that that seems to be the cure-all, as is mechanically the cure-all, because our health bar there, which we've already lost a little bit in the corner, you just use a blood vial to heal it, and it looks like literally just a straight injection to the right leg. You just put it in, pump yourself with some of this blood, and you're all good. So again, this is one of those things where gameplay wise you always think like, how does that, like, when you think of like a first person shooter, you get shot and you just kind of sit behind a corner and you magically regenerate. But we're gonna find out that the blood has special different properties, and it doesn't just seem to apply to the character. It seems that this is how this world handles their medical issues. So yeah. Let's see what this guy has. More blood vials. Okay. Telling you how to heal. So I always like when you leave Yosefka's clinic, because you're kind of getting a sense of a scale of, like, you already have an idea of what the architecture is in there a little bit, but then you're just getting a bigger sense of it out here with these dead trees, these gravestones, this thing that's closed by a device, and you can see gravestones, and you have all these gravestones here, which I was telling a friend this, you know, I think it's cool because you start in a place called Yosefka's Clinic, and then you'd go outside and there's all these gravestones, and it seems the gravestone, I mean, have been here before. You have the statues with candles, and they're looking up, most of them. Nice. I shouldn't get this because there's like a glitch, but I'll get it anyways. Quicksilver bullets. So once I get out here, I'll maybe pick up a nearby item, and then I'll start talking about some of the items we already have. This game, man, I swear. So, another dead body. Blood vials. So you have these. So you have sandbags, a lot of luggage, but probably most importantly, these coffins that are really, really locked up. Ton of padlocks all over the place, in all directions, which obviously tell you that, you know, they don't want whatever's in there to come out, or they don't want anyone outside to open them up. But a lot of signs point to it being the former, where they just don't want things to get out. So benches, sandbags, more coffins. This one isn't. Got a little creepy looking insignia there. This one isn't locked up though, so I don't know. Maybe it's not full. You have these gigantic stagecoaches that, given the layout of this city, it's very well, I want to argue it's maybe impossible for them to actually get out. I'm not sure of that yet though. You have this amazingly rendered corpse of a horse just kind of being consumed by maggots and flies. And you have this guy, who we can't really defend ourselves against. So we'll grab this item. And we'll grab this item. And then there's these three people. There's another little small coach. Coffins, coaches. Okay. Oh, I forgot to open this. Let's kind of get him away. Hear a creepy screech in the distance, and we get to this thing, a lamp that we can light. The lamp now transports you back to the hunter's dream. Upon death, you will awaken at this lamp. Simple enough. Ow. Oh, darn it. We died. You died. That's weird. You didn't spawn at the lamp. That said, that's where we'd spawn if we died. It's just because it's our first death. So we get teleported to this place called the Hunter's Dream. Okay. Can inspect this. An abandoned doll. So this is the tutorial grounds. They just give you a bunch of notes that tell you kind of all the little ways you can interact, all the little mechanics to be mindful of. I actually like the ones in Dark Souls and the other Souls games make sense because they're kind of contextualized through the time and space and Lorethrough are convoluted. So in that world, like, people's notes that they leave are literally just kind of going from multi-dimensions because that's just how things work. Comments? Personally, I like this commentary. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll keep it going. I figured I'd do a whole playthrough like this. So yeah, I like these though because these are just, they are also other hunters, but I also like the idea of just these little ones wanting to help you get around. Thank you. Before we go back into the main game, or going back into Yharnam, I'll like look over some of the items and try to talk about those. But for now, we'll just walk around here. Oh, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. So I really like the Hunter's Dream. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. This place looks really, really nice. For one, it's both calming, but a little bit, I think a lot of the, like, the way it's shaped, especially with the gates and all the trees off in the distance, or these spires, I guess, and the way that you can't see the ground, it's like also very isolating in its own way. And the tree is just kind of gigantically huge. I think supposed to be like physically impossible. Like for the moon to be that big would probably mean a different sense of gravity, but because it doesn't, I also think that's cool too, because it is kind of surreal and it is dreamlike in a way. Yeah. It's kind of relaxing, has all these nice little flowers that interact when you touch them. That's not a lore thing. That's just nice. And you have these messages, or you have ways that you can kind of customize your own little ones. Give accessories to messengers, and they will obediently adorn them. Let's have them put on the head bandage. So now whenever I put messages down in the world, this is what they'll look like to other people. And I think it's cool that it keeps track of, if you see a message, it's like the online stuff is pretty cool. So it has the message, and it also has to know, like, it's not that there's a ton of cosmetics for these dudes, but it's like it has to know which one that person, sorry about that, it has to know about which ones that person has put on. So that's cool. So this is open. We have this guy in a wheelchair. Let's talk to him. I'm gonna mute myself for that.
Aha! You must be the new hunter. Welcome to the hunter's dream. This will be your home for now. I am Gairman, friend to you hunters. You're sure to be in a fine haze about now, but don't think too hard about all of this. Just go out and kill a few beasts. It's for your own good. You know, it's just what hunters do. You'll get used to it. This was once a safe haven for hunters. A workshop where hunters used blood to enhance their weapons and flesh. We don't have as many tools as we once did, but you're welcome to use whatever you find. Even the dog, should it please you. This was once a safe haven for hunters. A workshop where hunters used blood to enhance their weapons and flesh. We don't have as many tools as we once did, but you're welcome to use whatever you find. Even the dog, should it please you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was having some technical issues there with my mic. So yes, as he mentioned, he is Gairman. And he's here to help us. I also like how he kind of tells you not to think too much, even though I'm kind of doing the exact opposite of that. I do like that he doesn't want you to get too involved in thinking too much of the world, and he's just like, just go hunt. That's what you're here for. That's your purpose. Just go. The last line he mentions here about using the doll, I remember when I first played this game, I did not like, especially because he whispers. I just didn't like the insinuation of that, and I think that's kind of, I don't want to say intentional, but later in the game we'll find out his relationship to the doll, and it really does kind of raise the questions of like, what did he mean by that? There are mechanical things like when you're playing the game that makes sense for him to say use the doll, but then it also kind of has other connotations that I think are kind of questionable. But for now we'll leave it at that and just kind of look around this this room in the hunter's dream, the only big room. So you have a lot of candles, obviously. Is it besides the moonlight? Well, no. Okay, there are lanterns. They're just kind of around here. Oh, and a ton of books. Very studious group that we're just gonna knock over. Another note that's kind of the easy way to, I think, just for players who maybe just need a little bit extra guidance. That's what this feels like, is just to say, you need a goal, like a very clear goal. Here it is. To escape this dreadful hunter's dream, halt the source of the spreading scourge of beasts, lest the night carry on forever. The way this is, so already this is talking about, this is continuing the idea of it being a dream. I like it being, well, this dreadful hunter's dream. It might just also mean the place, so you're not just always stuck here. Kind of leaves some wiggle room for Yharnam, but definitely for this place, if you ever want to leave here, and all the lampposts take you back here. So, who knows, but definitely this place. Halt the source. So the source of the spreading scourge of beasts. And then the lest the night carry on forever implies, so it's only carrying on because the source is still existing. I think that's how I would read that sentence. So night doesn't end here in this place, which is cool because it kind of gives an excuse for why there's never like a real daytime for the like kind of place. So it just kind of, if someone were to be like, oh, I really wish this game had a day and night cycle, which no one's really doing, but if they did, here's a kind of reason for why it isn't like that. So we need a workshop tool to use this. I like how you have all of these weapons that are just kind of hanging up there that you just cannot use. But with this, you can fortify a weapon using bloodstones. Repair items with reduced durability. We don't have any items. We're about to get some. More just little apothecary stuff. Some tea stuff. We also, I think I saw one right here. So people can still eat. You have a storage. Place item in storage or retrieve stored items. So you just have something to put your stuff in. Yes. Set the weapons. Yes. Also welcome. So here's where we're gonna get our equipment from these little guys who are just holding the starting items. The messengers offer you a trick weapon. Choose one. Trick weapons are wielded with the right hand and employed in beast hunting. So we're offered these and they have their own stats. And here's the axe is the best. The first time I played through this game, I did go axe. That said, I think the saw cleaver. Well, let's read the description. Saw cleaver. One of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used in the hunting business. This saw, effective at drawing the blood of beasts, transforms into a long cleaver that makes use of centrifugal force. The saw, with its set of blood-letting teeth, has become a symbol of the hunt, and only grows in effectiveness the more grotesquely transformed the beast. Hunter Axe. One of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used on the hunt, retains the qualities of an axe, but offers a wider palette of attacks by transforming, boasts a heavy blunt attack, leading to high rally potential. No matter their pasts, beasts are no more than beasts. Some choose this axe to play the part of executioner. I like that. The threaded cane. Sufficiently deadly as a rigid-bladed cane, but also serves as a whip when its blade is split into many. Concealing the weapon inside the cane and flogging the beast with the whip is partly an act of ceremony, an attempt to demonstrate to oneself that the bloodlust of the hunt will never encroach upon the soul. So it kind of sounds like the threaded cane and the hunter's axe are at odds, because one of them is to play the part of the executioner and kind of indulge in the hunting. Same with the saw cleaver, it seems like more utilitarian, whereas a threaded cane is like, I would describe it as the bougie weapon, and it even looks it. It's more about like keeping your composure and keeping a look, an aesthetic of posterity as you're kind of dealing with the scourge. I'll keep it going slow. So if I remember correctly, I'm not entirely sure, but to my knowledge, the saw cleaver, it says it in its description that only grows in effectiveness the more grotesquely transformed the beast. I do believe this has a small but still kind of good benefit to fighting beasts, and especially early game, it's very beneficial. So while I really do enjoy the hunter axe and its moveset, just for the sake of ease, to try to minimize dying, I don't think I'll be dying too much if I'm being like conscious, but just to be safe, the saw cleaver is going to be very helpful, I think, early game. So we'll go with that. And it's also like, it's iconic. Even in the universe, it's iconic. The messengers offer you a firearm. Choose one. Firearms are wielded with the left hand and employed in beast hunting. So we have the hunter pistol and the blunderbuss. Pistol made at the hunter pistol, sorry. Pistol made at the workshop for hunters stalking beasts. Hunter firearms are specially crafted to employ quicksilver bullets fused with the wielder's own blood, boosting damage against beasts. The pistol is a quicker draw than the blunderbuss, allowing for speedier responses to attacks. Hunter blunderbuss. A blunderbuss created at the workshop for the hunter's line of work. Hunter firearms are specially crafted to employ quicksilver bullets fused with the wielder's own blood, boosting damage against beasts. The impact of this highly effective weapon counters beasts' swift movement, and its widespread is nigh on guaranteed to hit the mark. So one of them is more focused on hitting individual targets fast, so more responsive to the player's input, and the other one is a little bit slower, but even if you miss, you probably aren't gonna miss. The hunter pistol does more damage, so I kind of want to go with that, and it's usually the one I use to parry. So again, for the sake of ease of my comfort, what's this? It's a book. A notebook received from the messengers. Leave messages with these loyal servants to share them with hunters in other worlds. Okay. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay. This bath appears linked to the nightmare, but there are no messengers. Nightmare. I feel like that's the first time it's been referenced as a nightmare, so I don't know. Interesting. Trade in blood echoes with messengers to buy and sell items. So right now they sell blood vials, quicksilver bullets, Molotov cocktails, and pebbles. Let's look at the description of the blood vial. Special blood used in ministration restores HP. Once a patient has had their blood ministered, a unique but common treatment in Yharnam, successive infusions recall the first, and are all the more invigorating for it. No surprise that most Yharnamites are heavy users of blood. So, I think that's a unique but common treatment in Yharnam. I think that means that people in Yharnam use it, but it seems unique to Yharnam, so it's in Yharnam where it's mostly done. Although, maybe as like a treatment, and here it sounds like in Yharnam it's more so like a drug. And I think the way it's injected is supposed to kind of have this image of, I don't know, I think of like war movies and like morphine, like when you see like, sorry about that, when you see like a character dying or something and like they inject themselves with morphine, I feel like the blood vial kind of animation kind of harkens to that. But yeah, you can see it here, kind of corked. But yeah, really nice model. Quicksilver bullets. Special bullets used with hunter firearms. Ordinary bullets have no effect on beasts, and so quicksilver bullets, fused with the wielder's own blood, must be employed. The strength of quicksilver bullets depends greatly upon the wielder's blood tinge. Blood tinge is that stat that you can see in the corner, which, if the name didn't give it away, suggests that when you use things that are reliant on blood, your blood tinge has a factor in that. I do like the quicksilver bullet look because you see the little bit of blood, which is presumably your own blood, that's kind of infused with it. This says with the wielders, so yeah, that looks nice. Molotov cocktail. Explodes in raging flames when thrown against an object, one of the oldest hunter tools available in the workshop. Since the tragedy that struck Old Yharnam, fire has become a staple in beast hunts and is thought to cleanse impurity. Certain type of beasts have an abnormal fear of flame. Okay. So, this is referencing Old Yharnam, which is already kind of foreshadowing an area later, but for now, I guess we won't talk too much about it, but it's interesting. So there is an Old Yharnam, and struck by tragedy, so little things kind of foreshadowing what's to come. Pebble. Small pebbles found throughout Yharnam can be thrown at foes. Quite thrilling. These always kind of look like the Death Star to me, if it was just kind of modeled in stone. But yeah, pebbles, pretty useful actually in the early game. Ooh, armor sets. Yharnam Hunter Cap. Ludwig, the first hunter of the Healing Church, once recruited Yharnamites to serve as hunters. This hunter's attire was made for new recruits and has excellent straightforward defense, but not nearly enough to allow an ordinary man to stand any real chance against the beasts. And they all have that same description. So, first hunter of the Healing Church. Okay. This is Ludwig, and you'd have people. I do like the idea though that it just doesn't seem, the armor itself isn't very an effective defense, which I think is actually applicable to most armors in this game. I think this game, despite maybe not having a lot of armor, is really good for fashion souls because you're not really missing out on much defense wise, to be using different items or different attires together. But yeah, obviously I can't buy it now, and I think if anything, you can get like a different version of this set later, so probably just get it that way. But okay, won't sell anything. We can look at our own equipment. So the Hunter's Mark. Dangling upside down rune etched in one's mind, symbol of a hunter. By focusing one's thoughts on this rune, a hunter loses all blood echoes, but awakens afresh, as if it were all just a bad dream. So again, dream stuff going on. I like how there's just, it's a symbol that we are visually seeing, like as players, but the idea is that your character doesn't actually ever see it. It's just kind of an image that they have in their mind that they kind of think upon and manifest that takes them back, which is cool because it kind of sounds like that seems like a lot of power for individuals to have in these dream worlds. So it makes me wonder, like what other powers of manifestation do people have here, to kind of just realize it as a bad dream, and I don't know the implications of that while playing. But yeah, screw it. Let's look at the description here. Worn messenger top hat. A worn, rumpled top hat that messengers are oddly fond of. The inhabitants of the stump appear to have an interest in adornment. Why not let them be happy and revel as babes? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'll probably stop streaming in maybe 30-40 minutes, but this is just to get it going, and the VOD will still be up on my channel later, so you can always listen to it. But it's nice that to know that they feel nice with worn messenger, or when they wear the top hat. Messenger head bandage. Accessory adored by naive messengers imitating the bandages of scourge victims, unaware of their meaning. The inhabitants of the stump appear to have an interest in adornment. Okay. So, not the smartest creatures. They're kind of cute though in a weird way. I think the lady points to that. But yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Trying to hit every stream. Thank you. We read Saw Cleaver, the Hunter Pistol. Our clothes. Black hood. Hood worn upon awakening to the nightmare of blood and beasts. Perhaps its wearer had to stay out of sight and travel by cover of darkness. Without memory, who will ever know? So yes, very mysterious why we're here. It kind of hints to one, but it also kind of suggests that it could really be anything. It could just be what people wear, you know? Almost no rhyme or reason to it, and it's just kind of open to us to figure out why. Foreign garb. Not typical clothing for Yharnam. Perhaps it is of foreign origin. It is said, after all, the traveler came to Yharnam from afar. Without memory, who will ever know? That's cool. I like that. So yes, we are not from Yharnam, but it's where we end up going. And it sounds like... So yeah, it sounds like Yharnam, in some sense, does exist in the world where we come from, but we are kind of moved into a dream state after. And kind of left to try to figure out how to get out of it, which it seems to be to stop the scourge of the beasts. That's how we'll get out. Sullied bandage. Bandage worn upon awakening to the nightmare of blood and beasts. Terribly worn and unsanitary. A faint memory recalls blood ministration involving the transfusion of unknown blood. Not long after, the nightmare began. I like how it's not causative here, but it like leans towards it as if it is the transfusion that got you to the nightmare. But maybe I was wrong in that assertion, that maybe it isn't at all related. That was just something that we did before coming to the nightmare. But maybe. It seems pretty open in that way. Foreign trousers. Trousers worn upon awakening to the nightmare of blood and beasts. Not typical clothing for Yharnam. Perhaps it is of foreign origin. Okay, same description. But yeah. Okay, so I think that's everything we got here. And I might just go a little bit through Central Yharnam. But first, let's go to the first floor, sick room. Okay. And I'm not going to read these descriptions and the loading screens, mainly because as much as I didn't like the original straight Bloodborne loading screen, I feel like those, I mean, I think they try to keep it to things you've already encountered, but it's not always the case. So for the sake of not reading about something until it's kind of fitting to the knowledge that we would have at that point in the game, I'm not going to read them. Thank you. So I kind of want to look at before moving on, looking at the weapons, because they're so good. They're so good. One thing I really like, let me see if I can get it to work. Oh man, maybe not. Some guns, you can get them at a certain angle that allows you to see a bullet inside. So sometimes you can see there's like actually like a bullet in the chamber. I think that's really cool. But let's mess around a little bit with the weapons right here before we're in danger. So this is the kind of attack you'll do, and you like, it makes sense. It's a sliding motion. You have these kind of, you have the saw, like the teeth at the end. It works like that, and then you transform it, and it hitting the chandelier there. It's like a downward thrust. How does the second attack work? The second one seems more, the second attack seems more focused on the edge. That's why it has that little kind of clip there for that second attack. So just, yeah, so that does a little bit of damage. But yeah, and then there's the transformation attacks, which I really like. So that one's cool. And yeah, and you can chain the different like animations pretty effectively. Yeah, really cool. And I'm actually not sure how I think it's just like with the strong enough push, I think is how that works. All the weapons seem to actually on some level make sense, like have some physical sense. But the reason the reason we chose this bonfire is because someone has shown up in the room that we were once in, and we're no longer able to go there, but we can't talk to them, so I will mute myself for that.
Are you out on the hunt? Then I'm very sorry, but I cannot open this door. I am Yosefka. The patients here in my clinic must not be exposed to infection. I know that you hunt for us, for our town, but I'm sorry. Please. This is all that I can do. Now, go. And good hunting. Are you still in need of something? But I have nothing more to offer. Please, try to understand my position. I can only pray for a fruitful hunt. Are you still in need of something? But please, I can only...
So yeah, she ends up repeating herself. But, so yeah, this is the Yosefka that runs the clinic that, you know, it said we spawned in her clinic. We don't know where she was when we spawn. That's always a little bit interesting. And it's kind of hard, but I'm trying to get it through like a couple of the cracks, so you can see a little bit of what, you know, what she looks like. But yeah, so she runs the clinic, and since now we've been out in the world and we have the blood transfusion and everything, and we've used some blood vials, even though there's some in there already, which is interesting. But so she doesn't want to let us in, and she just gave us one of her vials, Yosefka's blood vial, which looks different from the other ones. Blood vial acquired from Yosefka's clinic. This refined blood, highly invigorating, restores a larger amount of HP. The product of a slow and careful refinement process, this rare blood vial appears to be a clinic original. So, special item that we will equip, because it can be pretty useful for some enemies when we're fighting. So we'll use it. And she also has special dialogue if you use a couple. So while we're still in Central Yharnam, we'll try to get that going. Yeah, let's finally make it into the combat. Bell ringing in the distance. Now that we have a weapon, I believe we can, yes, we can make this top hat move, at least from its original spot, which is nice. But okay, now we can finally damage these enemies. So not very challenging. Trying to look at them a little bit. They're pretty hairy. You can see their face there a little bit. Even their mouth, you can kind of get a hint of, like, I don't want to say the fangs are forming or anything, but I don't know. The jowls there look a little beast-like, I think. These guys just laying around. This one's really hairy, and his arms, he's also pretty elongated. Like, so their like figures are kind of less human at this point. And I'll also try to make comment on the things that they say. I didn't hear him. We're gonna kill a lot of these people, so if I miss a couple of what they say, it'll be okay. Yeah, now we can look at it from here. We can look down here. Oh. See some spires. See a bridge over there. And we got the items over here, but that's okay. One of the best things in this game is just breaking through stuff. It feels so good. There's this gate, but of course, closed by a device, as are most gates. Let's climb up. Last time we climbed up, we heard a really loud screech, which is pretty big foreshadowing. Again, you have a lot of luggage. Like you have coffins, caskets, and luggage. That's what you have a lot of. Oh, here are my souls. So one thing that I had completely missed my first time playing was the way the game... It took me like a good chunk of the game to realize that a red lamp signified someone you could talk to. And I think the reasoning behind that is these are incense candles, so they're supposed to keep the beasts away. So that's how you're supposed to know that there's people there, because they're trying to keep the beasts out. But we'll talk to this guy for a little bit.
Oh, you must be a hunter. And not one from around here either. I'm Gilbert, a fellow outsider. You must have had a fine time of it. Yharnam has a special way of treating guests. Well, I don't think I could stand if I wanted to, but I'm willing to help if there's anything that can be done. This town is cursed. Whatever your reasons might be, you should plan a swift exit. Whatever can be gained from this place, it will do more harm than good. Pale blood, you say? Never heard of it. But if it's blood you're interested in, you should try the Healing Church. The church controls all knowledge on blood ministration and all varieties of blood. Across the valley to the east of Yharnam lies the town of the Healing Church, known as the Cathedral Ward. And deep within Cathedral Ward is the old Grand Cathedral, the birthplace of the Healing Church's special blood. Or so they say. Yharnamites don't share much with outsiders. Normally they wouldn't let you near the place, but the hunt is on tonight. This might be your chance. Across the valley to the east of Yharnam, you'll find the Cathedral Ward. Deep within lies the old main cathedral, said to be the source of blood. I haven't heard of pale blood, but that's your best bet if it's anything to do with unique types of blood.
So he gives a lot of good stuff. So Gilbert, outsider like us, he can't get up, so he's already kind of hurt. Says the town is cursed. I think it's interesting that he says he doesn't know anything about pale blood, but there's a note. That note, now that I think about it, is kind of interesting, because there's really there's no reason to think that note's for us, right? That note might not have anything to do with us. For all we know, it could have to do with Yosefka. And given that she's already working with blood, it's not sure, at least at this point. And to be honest, I kind of forgot. So I'm actually literally just speculating off of the info we got. So he said anything to do with healing, anything to do with blood, is controlled by the Healing Church. Then again, her vial says it's a clinic original. So maybe she's just kind of operating outside of the control of the Healing Church and is just kind of on her own trying to make things better. So, interesting, I think. So he kind of gives us more info. Well, not on pale blood specifically, but tells us about the world, saying, you know, you want to head to the cathedral ward, which is to the east. So that's where we're going to be heading, or we're going to try to find that. Yeah. Let's keep going. Found our pebbles. It's good. Not the best stealth attack, but it's okay. That's fine, dude. Merry Christmas. Yes. See you. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. So yeah, we have them kind of out here patrolling. I mean, they follow this set route, so it's very clearly a patrol route, and it doesn't look like we have to fight them right now, so let's not. Let's go this way. There's a lot of stuff. There's really quite a good amount of detail packed in right here that we'll dissect. So there's a gate. So also, I think it's really cool how, like, a lot of the, oh, this thing is locked, doesn't really make too much sense. Like, not always, but this one does make sense, because this is kind of clearly around the outskirts of the city, or at least on one end of the city. So it makes sense to be able to, like, lock that off, especially since they're so adverse to outsiders. It seems they don't really want to have it be open, so I think to always have opportunities to close it, which makes me think that this is misplaced. This shouldn't be here. I feel like this should have been down already, and this should have been up there to bring it up. That would make sense from a, like, environment design perspective. Well, like, it wouldn't make sense mechanically, but it would make sense for how they want to live. But oh man, I never actually, so you have all these are just filled with bones, like just corpses, and you have this guy over here who's kind of patrolling his little corner. He's kind of scary. Ugh. Alright, we're gonna parry him. So I'll just say it, anytime I parry, try to look at my arm. Oh god. Look at my arm when I do that. It gets pretty big and kind of sharp. You could say it looks like a beast. Which is, it does. It does look like a beast claw. Cough, cough. But anyways. So more. So yeah, not all of the coffins are these really elaborate ones. There's these cheap wooden ones that again are empty. So are they? Yeah. Yeah. Wait, what is that actually? That looks weird. Like, anyways, we'll find more. So let's, like, yeah. I wonder if this dude, like, he just has like an executioner vibe, but I don't know. I'm a little biased with this. Kind of almost, like, this dude is just really big. Like, he thick. He thick. Oh, I've never, like, he's got heads. He's got heads just kind of hanging on his back. Beast heads. Any way to get that at a better angle? He's got these beast heads. Which, again, we've talked about how the enemies we've already started fighting kind of have this, like, they're becoming this. So, yeah. Alright. So you got these little ugly phoenix gargoyle things around here. Wheelchairs. This. I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, okay. Now I'm paying attention. So this is a beast. Same beast head, right? And they're burning him. And I was like, I think it's cool because it's just like it kind of just looks like a light source if you're not paying attention and you're just walking by. It's just spire on fire, right? But yeah, so it's got claws. This is like it's not a fully mature beast, but it is a beast. And the kind of, I mean, just the way it's hanging, you know, it's got this Jesus thing going on, which is interesting. But I won't say too much about that for now. Ooh, been playing for about an hour, and we're still going through. This is gonna take a minute. Oh, but it's so beautiful. It really is. This is just weird. Like, unless they like intentionally are trying to like I mean, in the game they're trying to wall off certain buildings for some reason. I don't get why that's like that. We'll go up here. Again, we have more beasts. Like, got some cocktails from this guy who didn't seem to make it into the party. And again, you have these little things telling you that there's people, so.
Are you that outsider? Well, sorry, but I don't want anything to do with you. Trot along, will ya?
I believe he just repeats himself.
Are you that outsider? Well,
yes.
Trot along.
So Gilbert was not kidding when he said they do not like outsiders. I also feel like the doors were just hello. Just so I don't have to worry about these patrolmen. We're gonna take care of them. So not the hardest enemies. And yes, again, they all kind of... Oh, he's got his hand on him. It's kind of sad. Oh, they're all kind of holding hands here. Damn. I wasn't ready for this. Alright. Oh. Okay. Ooh. These containers, I always wonder if they have blood or if it's just like alcohol or something. We'll break it anyways.
Lads, you've come on. You'd open the door on a night of the hunt. Away with you. Now. Lads, you've come on. You'd open the door on a night of the hunt. Away with you. Now.
So yeah, Gilbert already mentioned it, so I didn't say anything about it. But yes, it is the night of the hunt, which is presumably why these guys are on patrol. You have this guy who is probably going to use that if we don't take care of him. So these guys are pretty consistently having quicksilver bullets, which I like a lot because you have a consistent source. You almost got me. Ooh, our first bloodstone shard. Let's take a look at that. Oh, that looks really cool. Bloodstone shard, a solid shard that forms in cold blood. After death, a substance in the blood hardens, and that which does not crystallize is called the bloodstone. At the workshop, these bloodstones are embedded in weapons to fortify them. So there we go. So the blood, it's crystallized. Which does not crystallize. So I'm assuming goes solid, but maybe is more brittle. But the actual bloodstones are like harder. I also just like how they like. It looks like you're just holding them in a cloth, as like you're holding them around with you. Ugh. Also, don't ever look up any of the upgrade materials without like also typing in Bloodborne, because yeah, typing in blood chunks and forgetting to type in Bloodborne with that, not a pretty sight. You have this guy here. Yeah. I also like how a lot of the shouting they do is it's beast-like. Like it's very unintelligible. Still must to burn. Ow. Oh god. You're not wanted here. If if that was already not clear to you. Quicksilver bullets. Okay. Ooh, I gotta cough real quick. Okay. So yeah, even like the first time I played through this game, I never just ran through the middle and like killed everyone that way. I usually kind of essentially went the route that I'm going now, which is just kind of going around picking them off in the corner. So I'll do that for these guys, and then we'll kind of do a slow look around of the area. Oh, okay. Oh, ah man, fire early game, not fun at all. Oh my gosh, can't believe he survived that. I think this is our first encounter with a dog too. Let's make sure it's not a lethal one. Oh, then that could have been very bad. So yeah, I'm handling them okay, but these guys do hit pretty hard and they hit pretty fast. So quite a change. You have another horse here. A little different. It's... Ooh. Poor guy. Of course, I've been ignoring the... not the elephant in the room, but the gigantic beast. This thing is huge, and it looks... either the thing broke off or it looks like it was still alive and trying to get out and like was able to at least break off its arm, but it's cut in half. You got like a little bit of a hint of guts coming out there, but you also have all these skeletons of like victims, presumably, or people they didn't want to come back, people who were probably on the hunt, I would imagine. I am imagining. But yeah. Interesting. It's really like strong, and it was almost like a bonfire, like the way they were just kind of hanging around it while they were on their patrol. Ooh. Good shit from Soft. Really. So yeah, once you've reached your max limit of how much you can carry on you, they just kind of teleport to the chest. Ooh, Cold Blood Dew. Level 1. Droplet of cold blood containing blood echoes. Used to gain blood echoes. Hunters sustained by the dream gain strength from blood echoes. They imbibe the blood with thoughts of reverence, indeed gratitude, for their victims. Ooh, interesting. Give me 1 second. Oh man, reverence, gratitude for their victims. So cold blood. You've heard of cold blood, a solid shard that forms in cold blood. Droplet of cold blood. So not a full thing, but part of it. And in bigger parts of it, you can find these shards. Man, gratitude. I gotta sit on that one for a bit, to be honest. But yeah, so this part of Central Yharnam, which really, this does feel like the central, like, this and the next area feel like the center of Central Yharnam. So let's get to here. More stuff. So I like how there's this item that calls your attention, and I know I already saw it already, but, and it's only blood vials, but it kind of draws you away from this item, which is a Bloodstorm shard, which arguably is more important than the blood vials. So we got some people.
I don't reckon you're from round here. Well, stuck outside on a night of the hunt. Oh, you poor, poor thing. I don't reckon you're from round here. Well, stuck outside on a night of the hunt. Oh, you poor, poor thing.
Well, they're mean. And again, I feel like these little people just reinforce that they don't want you here. They don't care about you. It's weird because it sounds like both. It's hysterical. It's really like hysterical laughing, where it's like it's not a good time. It's like almost bordering crying. I really like that. Ooh. This fountain though. You got these characters, you got like, I like it because you really could imagine in this universe this existing. Like, this is the kind of fountain you'd find. These motherfuckers. We'll have time to look at one in a later area in more detail. So for now, we'll just fight them. And they'll be hiding an oil urn. When this urn hits its mark, the target is drenched in oil and made extremely flammable. Fire is commonplace on the hunt, and oil urns accentuate its effect. Sometimes, when hunters burn beasts, they appear intoxicated by the euphoria of purification. I like that last part because, again, to what I was saying about them kind of having like a bonfire moment around that big beast. I think it's informed by that. Like, when they're burning the blood, it really does, like, it seems like they're getting a high. And there's this guy. He's the reason the door was moving. We're gonna fight a couple of them, so I'm just gonna be fast. Oh my gosh, I fucked up. Oh, okay. They have like a really big window through which you can attack them. These guys, big bricks, bandages. I feel like these are the guys that make it into those big suits because they're the only ones who, like, I mean, they're the only ones who seem to be able to fit it out. So, torch. A common torch formed by wrapping a pine resin-drenched cloth around the end of a long stick. Hunters choose torches not only because the hunt leads them to the darkest nooks, but also because certain creatures they encounter are possessed of a deathly fear of flame. Hint, hint, some enemies are afraid of fire. I like how it tells you that in this first area, even though it doesn't become relevant until later. But yeah, it's nice. But yeah, so this area, like all the areas, they kind of have the same clutter of luggage. So people were just trying to get the fuck out, and they just weren't able to. And you hear that melody playing over there. Wheelchairs. What, like, a lot of the little details in this game really, like, they're dark. They're dark. I mean, we've seen some wheelchairs which imply that, like, you know, if you're in a wheelchair, they're just like, fuck it, dude, you're on your own. Peace. More cold blood. Is that a boot? I feel like I don't see much boots. Closed by a device. Again. Okay. So yes. I feel like this is like a plaza area. And it connects. So this is what I mean about the, like, this cart here. I guess these are big enough, I guess. I just wonder, would the horses just like clop, 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 clop. Actually, with this here. Oh, I guess, yeah, they could come through there too. So coaches could be getting around through these. Because these are pretty big. That makes sense. So this is how they, like, it's clearly not like a super, like, this, like, the main street that we were on is, like, doesn't seem to be most of it. But then here, I feel like, if the rabid dogs already don't make it hard enough. Let's kill this dog real quick. Oh. Alright, let's kill the gunman, because he will continue to hurt us. Oh. No. Okay, killed him. Healed up. Oh. Alright. Let's look around here a little bit. So you have this well that doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah. Lucky you can break that. But this well seems pretty useless, to be honest. Yeah, the trees, they're all like these deadwood kind of trees. No leaves, nothing. Not even a little bit around. No, there's like overgrowth. Got a lot of chains too. I wonder. And a padlock. This one looks like it's just tied with string. So maybe these are like, maybe like the coffins did burst open. Like maybe that's the thing they had to deal with. Oh. And yeah, you get a ton of these too, like baby carriages, which even I guess you can say they're like, there's no babies in a strict sense in this game. Like there's all these little remnants of there having been kids. And there are, you know, small creatures that one can make insinuation of, but yeah, there's just like a lot that kind of suggests to like just bad shit happening here. That's one of those things, you know, like for as fucked up as a game like GTA gets and stuff, it's just like there are no kids, like most of the time. It's like there's not kids or anything, but even in this world, it's like nah, bro, nah. You got that wind blow, you got, who knows, like I always figure this is like ash. It's not snow, clearly. It's like a very ashy kind of night. You got these. You got these boys on patrol. Oh shit. He's looking at me. Oh, he coming. Oh no, come on. What if I hide? Oh god. Oh, we got an item. Because I totally didn't know it was here. Another bloodstone shard. You have a ton of these statues here. And again, so I wish it was like a gate or something over here. Because it seems like this is supposed to be like covering something to stop some movement. You got these. Whoa, sorry. There's a motorcycle. So it's like this lady's crying. You have this. Yeah, these look pretty terrified. They have candles. Sorry, I gotta cough again. You got candles, though they're not being used. Okay. Yeah, that looks kind of scary, so let's go over here. And look, we're overlooking. You can still see the dead bodies. I love that. And it's kind of low res, a little bit LOD version of like where we were. And you can go down here. And I didn't look at it, but you can see this item from when you're down there. And we could just fall straight back down there if we wanted to. So in the event that you just ran past everything, and be here. Another bloodstone shard. More coffins, wooden ones. We're gonna go full class analysis. So the wood ones are clearly for like people who couldn't afford really good ones. So only really rich people of Yharnam have these going for them, and all the, you know, all the poor people are probably the ones running around who eventually, what's going on over there? A little. Okay, since I'm actually gonna end the stream in a minute, I'm kind of, is that just always gonna be that way? No, okay. When does it change though? Oh, you can't actually. Oh, you can't go up that. Hold up, let me go check that out again. This is normally how like quickly I'm running through, not like looking at anything. Yeah, okay. When does that change? Or does it change? Does it not change? Okay. So, here. Okay. Sorry if it's not clear what I'm looking at. It's like straight ahead. You just see like this texture gone, and then it's there. Same with that house over there. It's gone, then it's there. This game does a pretty good job of hiding its rendering of things, because like if you can imagine, like a lot of the stuff that's over there obviously isn't fully rendered yet when I'm here, because it's a waste of resources. So a lot of the little things like that are just to hide those little details. I wonder how much of the like level design is kind of centered around trying to hide, like, because I'm sure even something like this is designed for like, okay, so now we can, I mean, that still looks pretty good, but like I think around, like, I feel like this over here is to be like, okay, they're coming over here, so let's start rendering the sewers. So like a little bit of the sewers are being rendered at this point, and then like things over there are being despawned. Anyways, I mentioned the sewers, so you can see over here. I like how if you wanted to, you can, oh, no. You can go back out if you want. Like, so you don't actually, you're not forced to, I don't, right? Yeah, you're not forced to actually go down here if you don't want to, once you make the plunge. And, yeah. The coffins here are a little more dubious, I think. Like, were they taking them down or taking them out? Actually, I guess it would make sense for some of the houses that are like later down, because clearly these are sewers, right? Like that's a kind of sewage system. It's gross, but we have these guys who are clearly way more beast transformed, who are still carrying torches despite looking like they wouldn't really want to be exposed to fire. But they die pretty quickly. And they have a pretty good drop rate for blood vials. These guys, the reason I actually went with the blood cleaver was for these guys, because you can take them out in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hit combo. Easy. These guys, the ones with the spears, not so much, but... Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Alright. We're just gonna get ourselves going in the mix here. Alright. Easy. This is our introduction to rats. Doesn't have to be here, but there are oh, he just went through the ground. Sucks because they're never hiding anything. But yeah, so these are the sewers. You can tell because they have that going for them. Bunch of poop falling down here. It's a pretty gross looking area. But yeah, it does look like people were making their way through here to make, like, as they were moving things around, coffins and the like. Let's kill this one. I think it's interesting that they have this kind of like red hair. They also have bandages around their arm. They're pretty, like, these guys are really thin. Like, I don't think they weren't eating anything, obviously. Oof. More coffins, some sandbags. Alright, let's drop down. Get this item. Thick cold blood. Ah, we got throwing knives. Throwing knife with a finely serrated blade, one of the old hunter Henrik's favorite weapons, does not cause a great deal of damage to beasts, but with deft use can distract attackers and keep them at bay. It's thick cold blood. Ah. A thick cold blood. A thick droplet of cold blood containing blood echoes, used to gain a large amount of blood echoes. A strong will produces thick blood, doubtless the product of obsession, a potent source of human strength. They imbibe the blood with thoughts of reverence. So I think cold blood's so interesting because it, like, I mean, they work in the same way that souls do. I feel like they are, I guess it's, I actually want to say, okay, so souls are kind of, there's already this metaphysical element to souls as an item in the soul series. But I like this idea of infusing blood with metaphysical, oh, that looked bad. What is that supposed to be? Oh, that's probably the blood. It's the idea of infusing something that maybe, you know, blood, like, okay. This is getting to like a bigger idea of what I like about this game, that like the way it imbibes its realism with this kind of grander stuff becomes very apparent later on, and it's something that's kind of established even from this, like, the idea of how your weapons, they might actually be able to work in real life, and the idea of like blood is something we understand, and it's just, you think of blood maybe more in like medical terms, and even the game addresses it in medical terms, but at the same time there's these metaphysical elements being applied to it. That's kind of interesting. I like it. We picked up an armor set that we're about to change to, the hunter hat. One of the standard articles of hunter attire fashion at the workshop, a fine piece of hunter attire that provides stable defense to anyone facing Yharnam's beastly threat. Recognizable by its withered feather, this cap is fashioned after one of the old hunters. One of the standard the hunter garb, sorry. One of the standard articles of hunter attire fashioned at the workshop, accompanied with a short cape to wipe away blood. A fine piece of hunter attire that provides stable defense to anyone facing Yharnam's beastly threat. Allows one to stalk beasts unannounced by cover of night. I wonder if that actually, like, has mechanics. I don't think it does. Same description for the hunter gloves. Same depiction for the trousers. But Look at that set. I also like how your chest kind of moves a little bit. There's really just so much detail in the depiction here of some of this. Oh wait, is this low enough to see the bullet? Kind of. You can kind of see it a little bit. I think the way it's rendering, probably for the video, you probably wouldn't be able to see it anyways, but still. So there's an item down there, another area over there. There's a lot going on here that I think we'll have to pick up next time. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm kind of enjoying it. I think it's a nice slow way of progressing through the game. Already been playing for about an hour and some change, so we're still in Central Yharnam, but it might pick up, I think. Just kind of depending on the number of new items and like lore tidbits that we get that are worth talking about. But for now, I'll leave it at that. Yes. Let's give a little wave. The gestures in this game are really nice. Alright.